Hello, everyone. Patrick here. We're just setting up. Give us another minute or two, and we will be rocking and rolling. Okay. Did it go through, Nancy?
I got it.
Okay.
Thank you
Feel like
so
we're in
much.
church again. Like we can talk. Like we're like flashback to
I'm so
Catholic school.
I'm focused. I'm focused. Okay.
Raising those.
Now,
There's Michelle.
I'm not seeing where to post it, Patrick.
You can just post it if you're on Ekukhanyeni's main page.
Okay.
You should be able to post it there like we did yesterday.
Yeah, I am. Okay. Hang on a second. Let me do it. Oh. Well, it's not shown up yet, Patrick.
Okay. It might just take a minute.
Yeah, there we are.
Because yesterday it took a minute.
We're live.
We're
We're
good?
live. Yes.
Okay.
Woohoo.
Let's rock and roll. All right, everyone. I am licensed mental health counselor Patrick Monette and certified life coach. And this is a very special Friday Night Feels for us in New York, where I'm located, where this is the Friday Night Feels pop-up. Friday Night Feels is a show that focuses on men who want to create better connection and communication with themselves and the people close to them. Normally what I do with the episodes that people have seen or listened is featuring a guest expert that takes on a deep dive into the different topics of men's wellness, including relationships and emotional well-being. Today, we're going to be going a little bit out of the box because one of the components of being a mental health counselor and a life coach is, and I've talked to one of my friends about this who's on the call today, is really when you're focusing on your mental health and your emotional well-being is the importance of taking care of yourself, but also being able to be there for others and being able to learn, how do I properly give and help in a way that's healthy and productive for me, but can also be there for someone who still might need something, even if I'm struggling. And in the world of mental health, we know that sometimes anxiety, depression, trauma can really limit our resources. So today is a wonderful celebration to explore different ways that we can still take care of ourselves and still be there for other people in need. As you've seen on my social media post, today is a wonderful celebration for an organization, and I've had different guests on here before, for those of you who have watched it before. Nancy O'Brien. Hello, Nancy. So
Hi,
good to see
everybody.
you again. And everyone's going to be introducing themselves because we're a full house across the globe right now. So this is really a special Friday Night Feels pop-up event. The focus of the show for today is a special gathering to celebrate Ekukhanyeni's Mandela Day fundraising campaign, 67 kids in 67 days. I'm speaking with amazing, incredible international supporters of this incredible campaign who have dedicated their lives to helping provide quality education through early learning and skills development to create thriving communities. And everyone's going to be introducing their teams that are there. And I'm going to have Nancy introduce yourself and your team first. So welcome everyone to Friday Night Feels.
Thank you, Patrick. Thank you for inviting us on your show and allowing us to showcase our wonderful celebration and our wonderful Mandela Day, 67 days to 67 kids. And I am so excited to share with everybody that we are very, very close to our goal, thanks to an enormous outpouring of love and support for Lisa and her kids, as I call them, and for her incredible team and their 18-year legacy, raising kids and raising communities and uplifting and eliminating generational poverty. I mean, there's so much that we can discuss and share with everybody, but really today is an overall celebration of all of us gathered here and what we've been able to accomplish over the last 67 days. And so with me here, and we are in Southeastern Ontario in the Thousand Islands, I have with me some very, very dear friends and colleagues who have also been supporters of Ekukhanyeni for many, many years. And they're all French speaking, so they're going to go off in a few minutes and get translation by Gilles over here. So I'm going to have them introduce themselves, and then they're going to go off and listen and participate. And this day and this event is really, we're going to try and make it as interactive as possible. We have a landing page. The landing page link is on Facebook now. So please, everyone, click on that link and go over and see all of the different draw prizes we have and enter, donate if you wish. But really today is a celebration, a worldwide celebration of everybody who has given, whether it's $1 or $100 to the campaign. Everybody's voice, everybody has been so loving and supportive. Some people, you know, all they can afford is to share a post, and that goes a long way to spreading the word about an incredible organization that for the last 18 years has made a difference in many, many children's lives. So you are
Gilles.
and Alain. Everybody say their name.
Alain.
Marie-Hélène, Danielle.
Okay, so that's 19.
Awesome.
Come back to us later.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for coming, everyone. It's so good to see you all.
Bye.
All right, I'll just jump in, Patrick. So my name
Sure.
is Michelle, and I am here with Clifford and Lauren, and we are representing SMLET, and we are part of the legacy donors of Ekukhanyeni. We have participants from all around the world who lovingly support Ekukhanyeni in various ways. So we're super pleased to be here. And I've had the pleasure to actually participate directly with Ekukhanyeni in South Africa as the operations head for just under 10 years.
Wow.
And that's just been a fantastic pleasure of my life. So I'm so excited for this initiative and to be able to share about what Ekukhanyeni is doing and also just speak towards general wellness. I think it's a great integration with what you're doing, Patrick. I am now stateside, and so we are all participating today from New York.
That's
I want to
exciting.
give a quick shout out to any of the South African team in Lolly. I love you guys. I miss you guys. We're here to represent.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks. I'm so glad you can hear. And we're representing
Guys, and I
different
guess
parts of
it's-
New York. Sorry. Jackie, go ahead.
Yeah.
Jackie.
Well, thank you very much. I'm based on the African continent, in the far south of the African continent in South Africa, where Ekukhanyeni is based. And I am so blessed to be involved with such an amazing organization that in the last couple of years has just grown and grown and grown. And it's all due to wonderful supporters from all around the world, not only in South Africa, not only corporate people in South Africa, not only individuals, but also just how we've been able to spread the news overseas to many, many people. And that community has grown substantially. And I think the success of any organization is to ensure that all your eggs are not in one basket. And that being able to spread the word to a lot more people. And I know in our last live stream, we had people from New Zealand, from Australia, we had people from Italy. So it really is the European continent into the States, Canada. I mean, it's been absolutely amazing. And I can tell you now that for me, it's the most rewarding thing out. And when Patrick mentioned well-being, I can tell you to be involved with an organization like this just gives you so much heart, and and so much joy. And if you can have that in your life, you can overcome a lot of things. So that's just, I'll continue chatting about our project later.
Wonderful. I'm so excited. And it's one thing I want to say, Jackie, one thing that I've noticed is, sometimes I find going back to wellness is I can't tell you how many times I may have been having a rough day or just long or tired. And then all of a sudden I'll randomly log on to social media and there is always a post about the children
Yes.
or just like your background where you just see these beautiful smiles. And I have to tell you, it just shifts out of any fog that I'm in. And there's just, it's just amazing. There's always a beautiful post and uplifting and inspirational. And it helps me just to put in perspective what I'm dealing with, and then reminds me, wait a minute, there's a bigger picture here. So it's so amazing to be here with all of you, but also to follow your social media pages and to see all of the amazing transformations and growth that you're offering these amazing children. And for us, part of the world, to be able to help and support.
You're absolutely right. And children are so untouched. They just have heart and they just have love. A person learns hatred, and a person learns all of those awful things that come with growing older and aging and making friends and working and being in different spaces. But it definitely does ground you. And I think Michelle would definitely agree with that. The minute you walk into Lawley, these children have got nothing. We're dealing with kids that are living in shacks. There's no electricity. There's no running water. During winter here, it is really, really cold as well. And these children are going home at night to a parent that is having to put on a log fire to be able to cook some food and boil some water so that they can have a bath out of one bucket of warm water. So this is sort of what we're dealing with. These kids are coming into our centers and they're getting fed every day. They get a breakfast in the morning. They're getting a lunch at lunchtime. But this is what they're going home to, and that is the reality. But I can tell you now, I've never met one of these children that are ungrateful. They always meet you with an amazing smile, with open arms, singing, hugging, and just loving you. And I can tell you, it makes all the difference in the world when you go there. So you have the harsh realities of outside of that. And then when you go back into Lawley and you're able to make a difference in their lives with uplifting their home or uplifting the school that they're in or providing a curriculum or something like that, it is so satisfying. Like, it's just like so rewarding.
Yeah,
Jackie,
go ahead.
well, I was just going to piggyback on that because, Jackie, that was my exact experience. The first time, I mean, I've had the great fortune of traveling to South Africa, I think 6 times. And the last several were to Ekukhanyeni. And I remember the most, I come from Canada, so it's a country of privilege, let's face it. But what I was struck with is the generosity of spirit and the love in the hearts of these kids. And I would go there and their expression of love, and it's exactly, they don't have anything, but they have this enormous heart and this enormous love. And I was so affected by that because I would see where I come from that really was lacking in the kids here. And I worked to bring the kids together and to make those connections. The other thing that struck me was also on the permaculture side and the food security side of the aisle, and how the nutrition, our nourish pillar plays such a huge role, because it's not just the education, but it's the nourishment and it's the upliftment, and it's how the community works together and these programs work together to literally make magic. And the last couple of years, especially working with Jackie, has been such, I mean, Jackie, you were an inspiration to me, because working with you, we have been able to achieve, I mean, unbelievable things, to double the size of Ekukhanyeni during the pandemic. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no organization in the world that can say they've doubled their size. And we're an NGO, and we literally worked and worked, and it's because of the outpouring and the generosity and the growing of our giving community, because that's what it is to me. It's a giving community. We don't always see each other, and that's why I was sharing with us when we gathered first that for me, the whole theme of our gathering right now is Sawubona, and especially Yebo Sawubona, because Yebo Sawubona is I see you see me, and it's why I really wanted our community to see one another, that we are far flung. And you mentioned some of the countries, Lewis and Tahiti. I mean, we have people from all over the world, and Lewis is such a special donor, and I wanted to point him out because he gifts on a regular basis, and there is many. And so I'm going to shout out individuals' names along the line. I'm going to talk about some of the donors and some of the Clifford here. I'm going to call you out, Cliff. He makes these wonderful wellness tinctures, and he's offered, I think, to draw off 10 of them or something. So he's willing, and we have just so many wonderful prizes. Michelle also does, and hers are on the landing page. She makes these handcrafted pouches with the batik, I think it is,
Batik,
Michelle.
yeah,
Batik
it's a special
cotton. Anyway,
fabric.
they're absolutely gorgeous. I was supposed to have everything all around me, and I don't. But I use them. Danielle here, I think she has bath salts and this natural deodorant that I to die for, because it's very hard to get a natural product like that works, and it's just wonderful. So we have wonderful people that have donated not just funds, but their time, and also some of their wellness products to go along with our theme, which is is wellness, and working with a community of people that live by the same principles that are used to raise the community and raise the kids. So it's just really, really nice to be all together in one place, and to be at, what's the number now, Jackie? We're at 60 kids.
We're 60 kids.
We're 60 kids, and we're looking for that magic 67. So what's the number?
So we're looking at $1,750.
1,700, and how many rand is that? In rands.
In rands, we're looking at, I did work it out, and it's a big difference, 31,500 rand.
Okay,
To
so we're close.
7 children. We're very close. Yes,
we're very close, and we're very, very excited, and we're very, very thankful. I'm going to ask you, Jackie, to share now a little bit about your role, and Mint's role, and the trust role, and what all that means, because there will be people on the call. I know some of the international people really won't know that connection, and just how important that partnership is with you and Ekukhanyeni. So if you could just share a little bit about that, that would be great.
So a little background about where we and how we came into this whole thing. A few years back, I lost my dad, quite tragically, and I went on a little bit of a soul-searching journey, looking at what Patrick's mentioned, just looking at my wellness and understanding my wellness, and trying to fathom where I was going to find that. And after a lot of coaching sessions over a period of 2 years, I realized that I definitely wanted to give back. And education for me was at the center of everything that I had loved, and young children, especially in South Africa. And our journey started with looking at opening a school in South Africa, but there was a lot of red tape, and it was going to take many, many years to get to that point where we could actually start bringing children into the school. And it was then at that time that I came across Debbie, who I know for several years, and she'd been working at Ekukhanyeni for many years. I think since the start, I think since Lisa and them started. And she introduced us to Ekukhanyeni and to Lisa. And Trevor Frombant, who's my husband, attended one of our year-end functions, our Christmas functions, where we do a prize giving for all our teachers. And he was so enamored with what he saw, and he was so bowled over by what Lisa had achieved and the 15 schools that she had at the time, and just how grateful and gracious the teachers were at that prize giving, that he came home and he said, look, I think this is the answer to our prayers. This is exactly what we need to do. And that's how we got onto this journey. We then approached Lisa and asked her if we could partner with her. So Mint, the company that we work for, formed a trust, and that trust, our sole beneficiary of the trust is Ekukhanyeni. So every funder and every person that we reach out to in South Africa comes through that trust, and that money then flows directly through to Ekukhanyeni. So the trust doesn't hold any of the funds; it just controls the money going through to Ekukhanyeni to ensure that we grow. So in 2020, we decided to really get the motion going, get the project going. We set a very hairy, audacious goal of putting 500,000 children through the Ekukhanyeni Centers of Excellence by the year 2030. And that's where the journey started. We got going, and 3 months later, we were hit with lockdown and COVID, and we soldiered on. And that's the beauty of Ekukhanyeni, is that every single person that works in the Ekukhanyeni organization has to have heart. From our funders to our donors to people that we work with, they really need to have the heart. And we were very, very fortunate, as Nancy had mentioned. We did go through COVID for 3 years here. Many of the companies were very, very hard hit, and most of all the very impoverished communities in South Africa were the most hardest hit. And Ekukhanyeni did a fantastic job. With our funders staying on board, we were able to help feed children through that period of time. Not only the children that were coming in the schools, but we actually supplied food packs and that to the families of those children that were living in the community. And whatever was left over, if we did have a surplus, was shared with the rest of the people in the community. So it was very, very fulfilling time in Ekukhanyeni's life. But during that time, we have grown our schools from 15 to 33. 30 of those schools are sitting in Lawley at the moment. 3 of the schools we opened in Soweto, which is a very well-known area just outside of Johannesburg. It was traditionally a Black-only area in South Africa, where a lot of Black people settled during the apartheid years. And that has grown substantially over the last couple of years. Many Black people, even though people are now free to move and live wherever they like, have opted to carry on staying in Soweto. So we do have an immense need in every single area where we had previously disadvantaged or impoverished children living. We can say that we have 1,500 children in our care on a daily basis, and through all our funding, those children are fed morning and afternoon. They our food gardens that we have in some of our centres, and our beautiful food market garden that was open, that have 6 big tunnels, provide food and nourishment for the children. It supplements their lunchtime meal every single day. So we are very, very blessed. And I can tell you now that this journey that I've taken with Ekukhanyeni has definitely made me feel like a more whole person, somebody that appreciates what I have and understands the great need. And yeah, I think I can just associate with what you've said, Patrick, about wellness. It is so important to have that well mind. And if you can find purpose in your life, it definitely does help with the well-being of you and your soul.
That's beautiful. Oh gosh, I'm sure you have something to say about that, Patrick.
Well, even hearing it, like, it makes you tear up.
I know,
yeah. Because like everything you're saying, I mean, taking your personal pain and saying, it's like, well, how do I deal with this? How do I, because it can consume you when you've had that tragic loss, especially of a parent, and to be able to have it be the sort of the ignite that passion of who am I supposed to be and where do I go, and that disoriented feeling that you can have, and then to open the door to this world of, as you were listing everything, it's like, this doesn't even sound real, this doesn't even sound possible. The miracles that everyone on your team and everyone has created is just, it takes your breath away.
Well,
It's just amazing.
It's amazing to hear Jackie say that, because Lisa's story is born of a similar experience, because she, the birth of Ekukhanyeni happened. She had been a diplomat in South Africa and came home to nurse her ill mother. And it was during this process and this experience and that she ended up in Lolly and had an experience. And I mean, you can call it whatever, an aha moment. I mean, there's an epiphany, or, there's a million words to describe that moment in time that changes you forever. That, whether you go and search for whatever, but I remember her story about how it all, she all of a sudden knew the place was Lolly, and where she was going to begin this. And it was, coming up on 18 years in October. And that, we think of the chairman, Dr. Kulu, who has been with Ekukhanyeni since the beginning too, and how it's really tied together with a progressive movement. And you talk about democracy and how they both worked in that inaugural government. And there's so much history, and it's all built on that. You have an experience and what you do with it. And I love that you use the word ignite, because we use those words, ignite hope. And because it's that resilience, it's that, like, okay, we take something tough, and then what are we going to turn it into, and where are we going to go? And it happens over and over. And I didn't know this, Jackie. Thank you so much for sharing that, because that's a beautiful story. And that's what we can do. We can share our stories with one another, and what shaped us, what moved us, because I know that everybody on this call has been touched in some way by Ekukhanyeni. And it's in that fellowship, it's in that humanity, it's in that heart that we've come together. And we have moved mountains, literally, because in times of really tough times, people have shown up in this campaign. It's been amazing. We've seen such an outpouring of generosity and opening hearts and helping us, reach more kids. And one thing I wanted to ask you, Jackie, is let's talk a little bit about school readiness and what the new curriculums achieved. I think it was in the midst of COVID in 2020 that Ekukhanyeni redid their curriculums. And to understand it, there's no official education in these communities. It just doesn't exist. And so what that means is that there is such an enormous gap. So the kids that don't get any formal education, their peers, their more affluent peers, are here when they get into grade 1. And so this gap exists. And this is what Ekukhanyeni closes.
Yeah.
And puts the kids in Lolly and in these informal settlements, or slums, if you want to use the term, and literally can wipe out a generation of poverty, because we're bringing the kids up here. So they're on a level playing field. And what happened this year that freaked me out, it made me really excited, because we're able to track some of the data now, is that 2 years ago with these new, and they're all, the words are cap and nils, and Michelle, you can probably ream off what they mean, but they're like standardized. They have everything in them, but they're also tailored to the community. It's just miraculous, some of these things that happen. So since doing these curriculum, we've always been measuring really high school readiness rates. So they might come in at, 40% at the beginning of the year, and we're at 93 at the end. So gone from 43% at the start of the year that are ready for school to that 93% mark. What we saw in February was that our grade RR kids, which is the year before the year before kindergarten, these kids were scoring almost school ready at the beginning of the year. And I'm not talking about the grade RR kids scoring that high. I'm talking about the year before. So the foundation, the educational component is so strong that these 2 years now are literally catapulting these kids into a different level of school readiness than we've seen before.
It's
Jackie,
amazing.
Yeah,
you might be able to say that better than I did, but it's really remarkable what we're seeing in terms of what the outcome. And it's not like we've really focused on outcomes before because we couldn't measure these things, but now we're starting to see the data that's showing that these children are at such a high readiness level for school after being in our program for 2 years.
so I think the one thing that I want to touch on, and this it's quite an important factor. So 85% of a child's brain is developed by age 6.
Yeah.
So if you just let that sink in, I think that is a lot of your values as well. So it's not just about brain capacity and what you're able to take in and what you're able to remember. And I think that's where and why we chose early learning, because that is where we are able to make the biggest difference. Because if that child gets that foundation, by the time they're ready to go to school, it makes a massive difference in how they cope at school and what their outcomes will be academically within school. And I think that's an important part of our program as well. It's not all about numbers. It's not all about processing a curriculum. It's very easy to put a lot of stuff on paper and to teach a child something. But our entire program also deals with the values. So our children are quite value driven in understanding society. They integrate with a lot of people that come from outside of the townships and the areas that they live in. So they're meeting different kinds of people, they're interacting with them. Our level of English has improved substantially in the last 5 years. If I think back, Michelle, to our to the wonderful concerts that we put on pre-COVID, I mean, those for me were so uplifting and so exciting. I've got so many videos of that.
Yeah.
But if I look at that and think how the kids were reacting on stage and how they were interacting on stage, and I look at the kids now when we land up in those centers, I mean, their English is phenomenal. It really, really is. So our teachers, the level of the teachers' English has improved, the level of the children's English has improved. And we don't force the kids to speak English all the time. I've actually insisted that when we take funders out and we do hands-on days, that the kids actually don't sing in English at all, that they sing in their home tongue. And let me tell you now, when you do that, I know Nancy's got a little video that she'll share with us later. You've just got to see it. I mean, these kids have got so much rhythm. It is unbelievable. And when they can sing in their Zulu or whatever, let me tell you now, it is like, it is so amazing to watch. So that's just a little bit about, and I think from that, like just the values and the curriculum and everything else that goes with it, and the child being fed and cared for and loved in our environment, has just grown confidence levels beyond anything else. I mean, most of those kids that you come across in our centers or whatever have got an immense amount of confidence. You could ask them to stand up and speak. You could ask them to thank a funder. You can pretty much ask them anything, and they learn so quickly, and it's wonderful to see.
Amazing. They're amazing.
Yeah, I think it's really like what you've said is beautiful, you know, and tying that all into this wellness theme. It's like, you know, all of the programs that Ekukhanyeni is doing is helping the kids to rise up. And I appreciate you, Jackie, explaining what it's like in the township, you know, what it's really like, because we don't often like to talk about the hardships, because it's kind of the sad side of things. We want to talk about the upliftment, but I think it's so valuable to do that, because not only do you understand where are we coming from to see where we're growing to, but it's a part of our human experience. And I think every human being is on their own wellness journey. And whether it's personal or whether it's on a community level, as Ekukhanyeni is serving, you know, we're in that place of growing. And so a huge part of growing is not only failure, but it's also experiencing hardships, learning how to go through those hardships, rise above. And then once we rise above, to be able to say, okay, you know what? I'm actually now like an expert in this. How can I then go on to help others? So the thing for me that kind of helps me visualize is like, you know, Jackie explained what the township is like, you know, with the no running water or no toilets often, dirt roads, shack structures, which make it cold in winter, hot in summer, that kind of thing. You have the socioeconomic things happening just from what has happened within the country of South Africa. You know, you're still seeing things in a particular way because of what's happened decades ago. So what's happening is you kind of have this loop. And then you have this intergenerational poverty going on, you know, lack of resources, lack of educational opportunities. And so the loop's going like this. And sometimes you want to just be like, you want to kick and scream. I mean, I'm like on my personal wellness journey, and I'm sure with some of you, you know, you're learning and you're reading things, and I'm on a Brene Brown kick. And she's talking about, you know, people doing their best. And a lot of times when we look at someone and say, okay, that person's doing their best, we want to kick and scream, and we want to be like, no, you're not. And that's when the shaming comes in, and that's when all these things come in. And so similarly, and now taking that individual perspective or experience and applying that to this group, you know, in community sense, it's a similar thing. You want to kick and scream and be like, why don't the kids have opportunities? Why isn't there, you know, food? Why isn't there change happening? But when we can come together and step back and acknowledge and say, okay, this is the way it is. Let's stop kicking and screaming. This is the way it is. Rather, what can we do? And to me, that is Ekukhanyeni. Ekukhanyeni came in and said, this is what we can do. This is where we see the gaps. So this is what happens. Instead of doing this loop of like, okay, repeat, it's hard, we start implementing change with the community, uplifting people from within the community, not giving handouts. You start to see this loop start rising, and you go, okay, now we're spinning up, now we're growing, now we're rising above. And that's how you start to get out of this cycle of intergenerational poverty. And you said it perfect, Nancy. It's like you're allowing people to bridge the gap, to come on a level playing field. I mean, Jackie, your stats about the brain development, 85% by the time of 5 or 6 is developed. That's incredible. I mean, if we're not contributing towards the physical and emotional well-being of these children from the start, they're going to have a gap. So we're filling that gap. You're giving these kids a huge opportunity, and that feels so good. That feels so darn good. And that's when it comes into our personal wellness again, you know, that ability to give back, and then we can rise up ourselves, and we can help other people rise up. And it's so fantastic.
And I love that. And what I love even more is the fact that this is a model. This model can be taken anywhere in the world and literally can change the world. It's a model. It really has all of the pieces that if you look at it and take it out and take it like a puzzle, you can see all of these parts interconnected. And, you know, yes, it would have to be adapted for, you know, every different part of the world. Sure. But in terms of what it contains, is the answers to some really big problems. And I think that's what we're starting to see. And that's why you have, you know, corporations, you have like Trevor recognizing it and Jackie recognizing and investing in it, and then going out and getting other companies to invest in it, to see that literally this is a nation building movement of people. And that's why I wanted to get everybody together to really understand the significance. Like, really, it's a significant thing.
Yeah, it's
That
big picture stuff.
it's
Yeah.
big picture
Yes.
stuff. And here we are. And that's why you see, you know, yes, and we're talking about wellness, and we've all been traumatized, and we,
Yeah.
you know, you can't live on the earth and not go through things. But
Yes.
what we choose to do is to use that experience to go higher and to solve big problems, and to see that we together, it's always been, what's that Margaret Mead quote? You know, if you want to change the world, it's going to be people. It's going to be a group of like-minded people. And so this celebration, to me, why I wanted to get everybody together, even though, you know, we're using computers and we're all over the world, but to say, hey, these 67 days meant something. These 67 days have made a difference, and together we have done it. And it's all through that laughter and that joy and that upliftment, and bringing to these kids who already have so much heart and soul in them, and they can dance for sure. I have a little video. I'm going to play that video,
Well,
Jackie, so everybody can see her
I just
dance.
have, can I ask a quick couple questions just for people who may not be familiar with stuff?
Absolutely.
Because I'm just like listening. I'm like, yes, keep talking. Like, it's just so amazing. But I'm just thinking for maybe people who, you know, a couple of things that might be helpful is if, and Nancy, I know that you and I talked about this last time you were on, but if you could speak a little bit about Mandela Day.
Jackie.
Of exactly, because like in the States, it's not
Good
well
point,
known.
Patrick. Yeah.
No,
And
that
then-
Jackie.
And then the other, you know, component too that I thought of, and Nancy and you and I talked about this yesterday, is, you know, there's so many different ways to help. If you could speak a little bit more about how people can help in addition to donating, like exactly what does the funding go to get enough to get to that 67? What would that mean? And if people may not be able to help financially, what are some other ways that they can get involved for, like, from around the world? Because I know a lot of people might be listening like, wow, this is amazing, I want to support it, I just may not have the funds. Can I still do something?
That's what happened to me. And I said, I don't have money to give to Ekukhanyeni. Can I just go there? And I thought I was going to go there for 6 months to help out. And my heart exploded, and I stayed almost 10 years. So there are other ways.
Absolutely.
Other
It's a
ways.
big fat yes.
Yeah.
But I would like to hear Jackie first. She'll let her talk about Mandela Day, because this is what's bringing us together. So, and she's the expert there. But we'll come back to how to share, because there's many opportunities
Wonderful.
to be involved.
So I was actually, when Nancy was talking about the 67 days, I was wondering how many people on the call and listening to us today would go, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
So I think most people should know who Nelson Mandela is. He was the first Black president of South Africa. He was incarcerated on Robben Island, which is an island off the coast of South Africa. It was a jail that most of our activists in South Africa were sent to during the apartheid era. And Nelson Mandela spent 27 years incarcerated on Robben Island. And when F.W. de Klerk, who was the president at the time in South Africa, decided that it was time for there to be peace and negotiation, he decided that they would release Nelson Mandela from prison. He met with him a couple of times on Robben Island, and finally Mandela was released. And the man is so well known, I think, around the world for his humbleness. He never pointed a finger at the white-controlled government. He never said a bad word. And in all those years that he was there, he studied tremendously. He read a lot. So he was a very intelligent man when he did come out of prison. And I think that in a lot brought the nation together a lot. Over the years that Nelson Mandela was president in South Africa, he definitely brought the entire nation together as one. And Mandela Day, after Mandela passed away, the Nelson Mandela Foundation started a movement called Nelson Mandela Day. And on this day, people are meant to spend 67 minutes in service. And I know a lot of the times it's very difficult out in the townships where we work to get people to come out there and do 67 minutes of service. So we get quite creative around what we're going to do, and that's why we use the number 67, and that's what inspired this year's campaign to put 67 more children into our centres over 67 days. So people could contribute on a daily basis for 67 days, or they could run a campaign within their organisation, or they could run it with their family, friends, whatever they wanted to do, and after 67 days, make a donation. So Mandela Day actually takes place next week on Tuesday, on the 18th of July, which is actually Nelson Mandela's actual birthday.
That's amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jackie. Yeah,
Thanks.
thank you for that. Yeah, and we've had a lot of fun. Last year we did the run, walk, dance, and it's funny because I'm up north again, just like I was last year when we did our video with the same group of people. And for us, what we did this year is it worked out that I'm Canadian, so if we saved $1 a day for 67 days, it actually, the 67 Canadian dollars equals 50 US. So 5 of us got together and we donated money together so we could educate a child for a year. And gosh, that feels good, and that's $1 a day. That's all it was. So that was our little creativity this year. And Jackie, you're just so wonderful at coming up with all sorts of wonderful ideas, so we can all be engaged and we can all, Yabo Salbona, that's my thing, is like is so we can see one another and champion one another and the work that we're doing and support one another on our wellness journeys, because we're all on one. And and like Patrick said, it's an integral part of it's what I would think is one of the most important parts of my wellness journey is giving back and is being with people who are wanting to serve and wanting to help others and wanting to share, exactly what you said, Michelle, is like, if I can overcome something, then I can help somebody else that might be going through that too. And also then introduce them to a way of living where you're constantly trying to make life better, not just for yourself, but the person next to you too.
Right. And so you're also learning from them as well. So even though they're children, I
Absolutely.
found a child will lead you, right? It's
absolutely,
like,
because it's value. I mean, that's what it is. It's like it's value. It's I see you, and it's making that connection, because I learn more from those I help than I do from me in a book or anything. It's in doing this work and growing and becoming a better person day by day that really is what motivates me. And I'm just really grateful. I feel so blessed for the last couple of years, because as much as I was a champion of Ekukhanyeni from afar, the opportunity to work with Lisa and Jackie and Michelle and the team, like, let's just give a shout out to that team, the community team. And, they're the champions, because they're the boots on the ground. They're the teachers. They are going into the communities day after day, and they are teaching these children, and these children are at achieving wonderful levels of school readiness with love in their hearts and food in their bellies. And that's because of a shared commitment and these shared values and working side by side every day. So big shout out to the community. Hi guys. I hope you're all online and you're feeling all the love from around the world.
And just to touch
Nancy,
on that, Nancy, too. Oh, sorry, Jackie.
Go ahead.
Just so people kind of, have an understanding, because being on the ground and having that personal experience, I just want to try to express some of that, which is, even the teachers who are educators, it was more informal. So it's all people who grew up in these
Yeah.
townships and are from these townships.
Yeah.
And they have been empowered and upskilled to be able to educate. So typically before our interventions, you would see that it's women from the community who are more so acting as teachers or caregivers, but there's no formal educational background to that. So what Ekukhanyeni has done is supported them through their educational journey as well, so that they actually become accredited. So they get the credits and the skills, just like you would if you took college classes. And then they are going into these ECD centers of excellence that we're working together to build, and they educate the children. So that's huge. So not only the educators, the center operators, but the kids, it's like you go into the community and it's under-resourced, but there's so much love. Like you would look around and walk through there and think, oh, maybe people are feeling sad and depressed because it's, there's lack thereof and things like that. It's the complete opposite. I mean, it's peace within oneself. It's balance. It's so much love and joy. I mean, just seeing the kids running around, one of my favorite things I would love to watch them do is they would take milk cartons, like your cardboard milk cartons, and then find bottle caps from, soda can, soda pop, whatever, and put them together on there to make it like a little box car, and find a wire, and then they would run that around, like a toy car. Or they'd take old tires that they would find, and they would get like a stick, and how you like hit it and then it goes around down the street. Just complete joy, having the time of their life. And so that's the beauty of everything, is that, just like you guys have been saying, it's that well-being. I mean, to me, that's the epitome of well-being. No matter what's going on around you or even within you, you just, you come to a level of acceptance, you come to a level of working together, and then that's when you start feeling better and can make awesome things happen.
And it makes you, once again, think more about yourself. And I say that really gently, because there isn't judgment when you're struggling, because that's real, it's valid, the pain of our own journeys. But sometimes being able to get out of our own head, which are, I feel our brain can be such an amazing place of creativity, but it can also be our own prison. And we just get lost in the thoughts and the feelings and the pain and the memories. And being able to, kind of like what Jackie was saying, is experience that joy, that simplicity, that beauty of a human connection, can really just shatter a lot of that darkness, and just remind us, or even teach us for the first time, there's more here. There is, as you were always saying, there's the bigger picture. And whether it is, like Nancy was saying, sharing, if all I can do is share a post, if all I can do is like a post, if all I can do, is knit a hat, if I can donate, all of these things is going to just help you move forward, and then help someone, that community grow.
And let me just say about sharing posts, it is not just if you share a post, please share posts. No, it really makes a difference. So for anyone out there who is looking for some small way to, spend a few minutes of time and know that you're going to make a difference, join us as a social media ambassador. It doesn't take a lot of time, but it does help a lot, and it spreads the word, and word of mouth. It's king, queen, rook, knight, whatever. It really, really makes a difference, because when you share your experience doing something, and people can feel that. Like when I talk about Ekukhanyeni, and I can go on and on and on, and about the joy that it has brought me doing this work, because I know that I am involved in something that makes a difference. I know that, and I've seen it, and it continues to happen. you know, there's that story, that star thrower story. And I know Lisa people might have said this to her too. It looks like, you know, it's just the guy's walking along the beach and he's picking up and it's littered with starfish, and he picks up one and he throws it. He walks along and he picks up another and he throws it throws it into the water, and he walks farther and he throws another one. Meanwhile, there's somebody coming up the other way, and he's watching this person go along and picking up that starfish and throwing it back into the sea. And so he's walking along and he gets up close to the person and said, like, what is wrong with you? Like, how can you possibly make a difference? And the guy just looked at him, lifted down, picked up the starfish, threw it in the water, and looked at him and said, well, made a difference to that one. And that to me is the story that we're telling in a way, because we are making, and I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I don't know how many, the untold thousands of kids that have gone through this program that we don't know, but we do know that we've given that opportunity to them, and where they've ended up, we don't know. But we're starting to see and be able to measure the impact. And we know that these kids are, like, it's literally that generation. And I can see the graphic in my mind, Jackie, that we can create to literally show that impact and that potential to wipe out an entire generation of poverty. And I was thinking in the last couple of days of Trevor bringing forward that story about how they did a similar thing in Indonesia, and the rise in the impact on that economy, because this is nation building from the standpoint, if you don't have a workforce, if you don't have a future workforce, you don't have an economy. So that's why it's so important. And I think this is why Lisa's work with the corporate community is getting such traction and attention, because we're seeing a model that can be duplicated and brought to other parts of the country to literally remove that generational poverty, the potential. And I believe, and I can see that opportunity is there, and that more and more companies are coming together and realizing that working together, this is possible. So it's
Nancy, I think just on that point, what everybody's raised is that, yes, you're not making a difference on day one, substantial difference. And everybody always feels like to make a difference, it's got to be something big. It's got to be a big investment. It's got to be a big time thing that you put in, but it's not. It's just chipping away at that little stone every single day. And all of a sudden, when you least expect it, that stone is turned into a statue or something. And I think that's the crux of what we do. We have been working at this. We've been chiseling away at what our vision is. And without even realizing it, because a lot of the times you're always going, oh, what have we done? Like, we didn't get to 40 schools yet. We haven't reached 50 schools. But take a breath and look back at what we have achieved. And if you've doubled an organization in 3 years, and you've also doubled the number of funders that you've brought on, you've doubled the number of staff that you have working in your community, and not only having doubled them, but the fact that they've already been uplifted to the point that a lot of our staff have been on radio stations. They have represented us at functions and actually spoken. They've been on TV. So this kind of exposure for people just really excites me. I get so excited. I mean, for me, that's what I live for every day. I mean, the kids make me laugh. They tell you the truth. I mean, if you look ugly or you're not wearing something nice, they'll tell you straight. There's nobody that tells you anything more truthfully than a child. But the fact that the ladies that work for Ekukhanyeni, those ladies that are on the ground, are the ones that are dealing with the hardships, but still making the kids happy. They're the ones that are dealing every minute of every single day with the hardship that is happening in the township. yes, we do a lot and we work hard and we want to grow the organization, but it is them at the end of the day that need the biggest pat on the back, because
Absolutely.
it's them it's them that's working with the children every single day and bringing joy in that to them. And remember, at night, a lot of them are going home to a shack themselves, or to no running water, or no electricity. So, you know, we've got to remain cognizant about that. And we've also got to remember that a lot of the people that we employ in our communities have also come through extreme hardship. That's where they've lived. That's where they were born, and that's where they've grown up. That's where they went to school, and that's where they still work. So they have never left. And that commitment to community is just amazing to see. And that just spurs me on each and every day, like to do more and to ensure that their dream, because they all have dreams, and they want these children to succeed, and they want them to have a better life than what they had, by being able to work with them every day. And if we can give them that opportunity to see that and see the dream come true, I've done what I needed to do.
Yeah.
It's that
That's beautiful.
local women-led
That's so well said,
care
Jack.
economy, you know, they're doing it. They're leading by
They
example.
are.
They're uplifting their own families and therefore their own relatives. You know, it's just that spark off effect. It's amazing.
Yeah. It
So I think
really
what
is.
Patrick asked, what can people do? Well, yes, you know what, funding, obviously, unfortunately, money does make the world go round. And that is an
We do need the
unfortunate
funds.
truth.
Yeah.
And everybody does need funding. But you know what, it's just to spread the word, really.
Exactly.
Because I mean, you guys can't anywhere around the world. I mean, you're not going to send a container of clothing or toys or furniture or anything like that, and we couldn't expect you to do that. But you could spread the word, and you could get other organizations involved. And just by doing that, you're already making a difference, because you're bringing somebody else to our organization and you're helping these kids. So it never boils down to money. And I've always said, and a friend of mine, I hope she's not listening on this chat today, I've never said no. If you want to donate something or time, whatever you want to donate to Ekukhanyeni, I've never said no, except for a glass table that got donated to us, which unfortunately we'll not be using in any shack.
Oh, that's wonderful. I have some numbers. Remember, I said I didn't have
Mhm.
those numbers. I do. So since its beginning, since it's in its 18-year legacy, Ekukhanyeni has reached 12,821 children
Wow.
and educated in grade R and grade RR, 6,933 children.
That's amazing.
And all in these kind of communities, that those children would not have received a formal education without Ekukhanyeni. So yeah, it's been an incredible, I just love being a part of it. And I love being a part of watching the ups and downs, the ins and outs, and just being a part of an organization with the level of resilience that you can double the size in, you know, in the most, when the whole world is basically shut down, and we just carried on. And it was an amazing thing to be part of, and to just see the level of commitment and what we were able to accomplish. And during a time when, you know, we were also, you know, we were losing funding too at the same time, but to continue to rise no matter what came our way, and it just makes you want to do more, and bring more people into our sphere of influence and our connection, and to be a part of something that can literally make a difference in the world.
Yeah, sometimes you just need access to that opportunity.
Mhm.
So that's why sharing is so important. You know, maybe you wouldn't have seen it, or somebody wouldn't have seen it otherwise, but having that opportunity, you know, awakens something, and they want to participate, or it's been what, you know, they've been looking for, type of thing. So
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a big thing. It can be just
Yeah.
something so small. And I think the analogy I think of is like, if you change the a rudder on a ship by 1 degree, it will end up in a port entirely different from the 1 degree beside it. So, you know, very, very small increments can make a big difference.
And also remembering you may not see the outcome of it, but it doesn't matter.
That's
Like
right.
sharing the post, you don't know who that will reach to. Saving the
Right.
$1. When you said the $1 a day, I went to, I was like, how much do people spend on like
doable.
lattes every day? Like, you know,
Yeah,
like that's like how many lattes a day, or how many, you know,
exactly.
just an assessment of like, oh, I could do this. It's that sacrifice. And also maybe this is something you can talk about briefly. And then Nancy, I know you have the video of, and I know that this is the celebration, and especially for next week. After next Tuesday, are you still receiving? Like, how does that work? Of like the ongoing fundraising and exposure after next Tuesday?
Well, Jackie could talk more about that. I think our next, she has a wonderful, wonderful schedule every year of fundraisers that we do.
Okay.
This is a big one. This is one of the big ones. And Jackie also does an absolutely phenomenal year-end bash, a dinner that has been the last, I think, couple of years. But she can speak more to, like, obviously we accept donations all the time. We're,
Yes.
not being a nonprofit organization, it's an ongoing thing and an ongoing commitment with funders, and Jackie can talk about that too. And I also wanted to mention a little bit about our signature hands-on days, because they're really special events. But Jackie, can talk about it, but we don't ever close the door to fundraising or accepting, because being a nonprofit organization, we rely on the generosity of our funders and our donors and our supporters. But every year we have a wonderful program that's developed, and Jackie's in charge of that, so she can tell us a little bit more about what's coming up in the next for the rest of the year in our fundraising. And we're always open for people to ask us, how to be involved, because we'll find something depending on what your skills are. I mean, we really have a philosophy where you give based in ability and you receive based in need. So there's room always for everyone.
Wonderful.
Okay, Jackie, you want to talk
So I
about what we have coming
know,
up?
I know a lot of funders always ask, like, what tax perks do we get, and what benefit is there in donating? So a lot of the times it's not just heart, it's just sometimes people have to tick that box. And I know that any organization overseas, if they do make a contribution to Ekukhanyeni, they can do it through our registered NGO called the Love First Foundation, based in the United States, and they can receive a 501c certificate, correct, Michelle?
Yep, 501c3.
So that's 501c3, and so that's quite helpful if your donations are quite large. And I know we have a similar thing in South Africa that a lot of our larger organizations make use of. So that's one side of the financial. And then just on our fundraising, we try to do like 3 or 4 fundraising campaigns during the year, and people can get involved in all of those. This year we kicked off with our Easter fundraiser, and from the money that we raised from there, we were able to provide a soft toy for every single child in the school, and they got 2 Easter eggs each. And we got one of our staff to don a Easter bunny outfit, and he actually took the eggs and the toys, and but he's over 6 foot tall. So
that's perfect for an Easter bunny.
I landed up crawling under one of the tables in Lawley. Some child was absolutely completely petrified by this bunny that had arrived. He was so big. We eventually coaxed him out. I sat under the table with him, and we eventually coaxed him out. And by the time we left, he was in the bunny's arms and very, very happy. So that was our first fundraiser for the year. And we also raised extra money, which has gone towards our expansion project. The Mandela Day we've looked at 60 67 children, and if we do reach that, we will definitely be putting 67 more children into our centres, which will be in Lawley. So at the moment, we have 30 by the beginning of next year. So our school year runs January to December. So we're mid-year at the moment during our school year. We're hoping within the next month or so to open 5 schools, and then hopefully the funding from our Mandela Day will be able to open another 5, which will then make sure that both our hubs that we've opened in Lawley have 20 centres each. So that's phenomenal. We'll end up sitting at 33 plus another 10, so 43 schools hopefully by the beginning of January next year.
Amazing.
So yeah, I know, I'm sure Lisa's going to wrap me over the knuckles, but that's the aim. I always shoot big. And I know I've told them before, because I'd get wrapped over the knuckles from our financial person. I get wrapped over the knuckles from Lisa, because, you know, we have to have the funding. But if I don't share the big plan, then nobody knows what we're working towards. And it's amazing. It's always a miracle. We set the bar high, and somebody always comes on board, and somebody always comes to partner with us, and we land up reaching that target. It quite a considerable amount of work. We also have a golf day planned for September, so that's the beginning of spring in South Africa. So we're going to be celebrating spring with a golf, 120 golfers on a golf course here in Johannesburg, money. And then finally, all our year-end activities. Our year-end activity is for all our funders to attend a dinner that we put on, and we showcase everything that we've achieved during the year. We share videos in Lawley, we share videos of the kids, of the people that are working with us. And it's just a lovely evening of networking, and a lot of the companies bring new funders to sit with them at their table. So we get an introduction to a lot of new companies, new individuals that normally come on board the following year and assist us in our program. So it's a lovely networking evening. And then on the side of the kids and our teachers, we do a year-end function for our teachers. We have a prize giving for them as well. So we put together money vouchers for them and different prizes, but it could be handbags, toys, whatever. So we get people to donate those, and we make sure that they're beautiful, pre-loved items, and we package those, and that's what we share with the staff in our schools. And then on the children's side, we try to give each and every single child a Christmas gift before the schools close. We call that a Santa shoebox, which we're going to do this year. So age appropriate things we put on a list, and then individuals and companies can donate towards that. We will buy all those products and those toys and pieces, and we'll put them into boxes, and then those will all get a big ribbon on them, and they will also get handed out to the children. And then the school closes. Schools close the first week of December. So that's what we've got lined up for the next 5 months. Actually, I keep thinking 6 months, but actually the year's gone so quickly that I can't believe that we're already nearly at the end of July. So yes, that's what we've got planned.
Wonderful.
Thanks,
and hopefully
Jackie.
being able to come together will help you get there even faster and open, so you can get those 43 schools rolling. And
Yes.
Nancy, we have a few minutes left. Did you want to show a video you had shared?
Well, here's what I want to do. I want to mention, and I want a big shout out to everybody who's watching live on Facebook to please go in the link and enter our draws. I put the link right on our page. And I don't know do you have it to put on yours, Patrick? Should I send it to you? The link to go to I want to direct people, or I want not direct them, but I want to invite
if you want to send it to me, I can definitely put it on my Facebook page, and that way people can find it different ways.
I want to make sure that people have an opportunity to enter all the draws for these beautiful, beautiful wellness products that we have. If you know, if I just would like them to have the opportunity to go, but if they don't, we'll just I'll just market them. You know, I'll just make sure that the opportunity is there for people to enter these draws for these beautiful gifts that we've received from our donors from around the world. And just want to make sure that people know that you can click on that link and then you'll be taken to a website or a landing page, it's called, where you can put your name in for a draw. And we have all sorts of wonderful holistic natural wellness products, beeswax candles and soaps and all sorts of wonderful things that are being offered, as well as free 30-minute consultations in stress relief. So lots of opportunity. I just want to make sure that people are aware that they can enter our draws.
Wonderful. And did you have a video you wanted to share, or someone?
I do.
Okay.
When we're ready to wrap, I have a
Yep.
little goodbye video. But I did want to mention that the video is geared to our thank you to all of the corporate funders. Jackie and I had a little back and forth today, and I didn't get 2 slides on there. So I do want to do a special shout out to Wings Travel and Grace Haven. Tell me. GHI. Yeah. So my apologies, because Jackie did let me know, but I wasn't able to get that done. And I want to make sure that we include everybody. All of our international, our international community have been invited to participate and be on this call. You know who you guys are. And thank you for coming out with so much love and so much support and showing ourselves so that the community in South Africa can see how much support there is for all the amazing work that you're doing, and especially for Lisa and for her team to feel all our love and support and how much we champion the work that you all do, and that, just know that we're your biggest supporters.
I just want to thank you, Nancy. I just wanted to give a quick shout out to everybody that's living outside of South Africa that have supported us every single day for the last couple of years. Without you, we couldn't do what we're doing. And it's a heartfelt thank you to all of you. We really do appreciate every little bit of support that we get. Thank you very much.
And Patrick, a big thank you to you as well and your audience. I hope that everyone, is successful on your wellness journey. It's a journey. Enjoy the ride. And, when you're willing and able, then this is a great, Ekukhanyeni is a great organization to give back to. So thank you for your time.
Sure. Thanks. I'm so glad everyone came to. It's exciting and inspirational.
Patrick,
And our doors are always open.
Yes.
You can land at any time at OR Tambo, and we will definitely collect you, and we will show you a really good time in South Africa, visiting the kids and visiting South Africa. Don't believe everything that you see on the news. It is a lovely place to visit.
And same with you, Jackie. When you come this way, you gotta remember to come this way. Okay, Patrick, thank you so much. I am so appreciative of you opening your heart, opening your community, welcoming us to do this celebration. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. You are a treasure. And when we're ready to wrap, Michelle, you guys have anything more to say? I'm going to wrap with a little video, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a little one that I didn't get in because she is such a dynamo. I want you to see this gal dance. And this is Jackie's favorite video and one of my favorites too. And then I'm going to segue into that. Thank you. And once, and so my goodbye for now, and my thank you to every single person that has participated for the outpouring of generosity from the heart. Yeah, we're really, really happy with the response. And Jackie, as always, thank you so much for all you do.
Thank you to all of you. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Makes my life a whole lot easier.
from us, just all our love. We're here with you, and keep doing great things, Ekukhanyeni.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Love you.
Bye.
Okay, here we go. I think.
It was there, Nancy.
Yes, but I
It always works till it has to work.
It's
always
that way.
works till it has to work. Just give me a sec. I forgot to do something. Oh, wait.
I just hope everybody stays on the call because you really just have to see this little girl
Right.
dance. I promise
Yes,
you
no,
now.
don't go yet. Don't go yet.
It's so inspiring.
I just wanted to make sure I forgot to the little gal. I want to make sure we have this one. Okay. All right, here we go.
You need a drum roll, Nancy.
I need clearly I need some.
Da-da-da.
You're good. You're just gonna have to see this for a second. Here we go.
Oh, it's not showing, Nancy. It's not showing.
No,
We can hear it, but we don't see a video.
you don't see it. You don't say. Okay, let's try that again. Share sound. You can see it, but you can hear it, but you can't see it.
Correct.
We can just see the little thumbnail on
Right.
your desktop, but not the actual video open.
Now
Now,
there it
yeah, we
is.
can see
Now
little
just-
ones.
Hit play.
you can see her now.
Yep.
Yes.
Hang on. There we go. And last but not, goodness me, sorry about this,
Seriously,
guy.
their sense of rhythm would put you to shame. Like it's just so natural and flowing, and they're just like, moving and grooving. It's the most amazing thing. It really is.
That is. You feel a bit strange when you're trying to
I know all the adults are just kind of like, and the kids are like, ooh, ooh, ooh. They're fantastic.
Okay. I think I know what I'm doing after all these years on Zoom. Okay, here we go. This one. You can see this, right?
Yep.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Here we go. And this is our farewell. Au revoir.
education. We would like to thank for everything you have done for us, putting our education first and supporting us through our early childhood development. May God bless you. Thank you very much.
Yay.
And there we go.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
All right, everyone take
Yes.
care.
Thank you. Thanks,
Bye.
Patrick.
All right, bye-bye.
Cheers.
Bye, Patrick.